Deathloop was supposed to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and it was also supposed to be releasing alongside the PlayStation 5's release, but due to the pandemic, Deathloop was delayed. And this has been the case for so many other games that we've talked about here on this channel. But the good news for Deathloop is that we are coming back round to the rescheduled release date, as it is scheduled to release in May 2021, so we're only a matter of months away at the time of recording this video. So as this is hitting the build up of the new release, let's go through absolutely everything that you need to know about Deathloop, going over what Deathloop actually is it a single player, is it a multiplayer game, the game studio behind it, and the platforms it's going to release on. But before I do get into the video, if you do want to see any more content from me, whether it be other YouTube channels, whether it be seeing some more content on some live streams, links to absolutely everything can be found in the description down below. Getting back into the video, what is Deathloop? Deathloop is set on the island of Blackreef, and you play as Colt, who is stuck in an unending cycle. In order to break out the time loop and put an end to it all for good, Colt has a single day to take out 8 different targets known as visionaries, who are located around the island who keep the loop going. These targets are spread across the island, each with their own schedules and routines that you'll have to learn. And if you fail to kill one of them, or you're killed yourself, the loop will reset and take you back to square one. The campaign has been described as a kind of puzzle for you to solve. You'll go about learning your target's routines and uncover new pathways and opportunities each time you try to break out the loop. As you get stronger and learn more, you'll be able to determine how to end the cycle once and for all. The best way that I can explain this is imagine Hitman, except on focusing on just a couple targets. You need to focus on 8 targets, and there's a set time limit for you to be able to kill each and every one of those targets, as it has to be done all in one day. And did I mention that there's also PvP elements? The PvP elements can also come into play with fellow protagonist Juliana. Colt wants to be free of the time loop, whereas Juliana wants to keep it going. Naturally, that means Colt is Juliana's only target. The biggest selling point to Deathloop is Juliana and Colt, because this is a PvP element where you get to choose who you want to play as. If you pick Juliana, you have the option to jump into other players' games and take out Colt. That also means every time that you play as Colt trying to take out the 8 targets, you also have other players coming into your session trying to take you out. This will lead to some very interesting gameplay. Now, despite all of this and how cool it sounds to be playing in a game against other players whilst trying to take out 8 targets and you can just really mess them up, personally I'm all down for it, but I know a lot of other players like to play by themselves, or you can turn off PvP. This will mean Juliana isn't actually controlled by another player, but in fact she's just controlled by the AI. On Bethesda's official website, Bakaba, who is the game director, recommends opting in for a mix of players and AI. So this is where you have the AI of the 8 different targets that you need to kill, and then also leaving a session open so other players can play as Juliana. We do see this in a quote from Bakaba, who says the focus is on the campaign and the story, and that the campaign can be played with Juliana controlled only by the AI, or, and this is our recommendation, by a mix of AI and random players to experience the range of unpredictability and chaos that Juliana is capable of. And I would say for those of you that are looking to buy this game, that by the sounds of it, it does really sound like it's not really worth it if you are just going to be playing as single player. Obviously there is still a campaign and story for you to enjoy, but with everything that's been shown in trailers and gameplay, it does really seem like this is the massive selling point. This is the focal point of the game, and this is also where you're going to be getting the most chaos, and that's where the most amount of fun is going to be coming from. But this is where we move on to the next point, because there is emphasis on freedom. So even though I literally just said that it's recommended to play with other players, the thing is, everything is entirely up to you. It is freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it. It is entirely up to you in which order and the pace you tackle each mission. Deathloop is about making your investigation, following the different threads and leads at your leisure, and approaching the moment to moment as you want to. In addition to this freedom, you also have the next point. This is the special powers. There is a whole array of weapons that you can get within Deathloop, and we will talk a bit more about weapons later because there's a very good point about how they're making it immersive. But along with a whole array of guns to find and use against your marks, Colt can also harness supernatural abilities known as slaps. So far we know about 4 different powers. There's a cloaking power which is known as ether, telekinesis, masquerade which enables you to assume any other form on the island, and the power to shift. By adding more mechanics into the mix also links back to the freedom. This now means that there is 8 different targets that you need to kill within one day, and you can pick any one of them to be your first target. You can then study them, see their routines, see their schedules, and decide where and when you want to take that person out. But now you also have the means of how you want to take them out. You can use a number of different weapons which are given to you, or you can use the special powers. Not to mention, because of that other player element where different players can join your session as Juliana, it also means that the thing that you do in your first game isn't necessarily going to work or play out the exact same in your second game or for any other game after that. And I'm looking really forward to the replayability of this, and I'm hoping that there can be a lot of replayability. Moving on, we do need to talk about the visionaries and who they are. As briefly mentioned earlier when talking about the story, Colt has a single day to take out 8 different targets, and these targets are known as visionaries. These visionaries are the people that keep the loop going, and we have been given already a bit of information about a couple of these visionaries. So the first one is Aegor Serlin. Aegor Serlin is the original Aeon founder, a self-proclaimed pseudoscientist and someone who just can't get no respect. Aegor craves the contradictory kind of legitimacy. He wants to be left alone and viewed as a preeminent genius, but he also wants to be adored and invited to parties, and when neither of those things happen, Aegor turns to violence. From this, we also have Alexis the Dwarf Dorsey. Alexis Dorsey formerly ran a profiteering pharmaceutical company before becoming the primary financial backer of the Aeon program. Obsessed with dwarf iconography, he believes his social and business achievements have earned him the title of an alpha. Alexis wants to be the man everyone wants to spend time with, sleep with, and party with. And then we also have Juliana Blake. We have already briefly mentioned her, but we still have this introduction to her. Juliana is a special case among the visionaries. Unlike the others who have stories and schedules that play out with or without Colt's interference, Jules' sole goal is killing you. She'll chase Colt all over the island, looking for a chance to take him out. Following this, Bethesda have also said that Juliana can take on the appearance of any NPC, further complicating your attempts to avoid her. Now, these are just a few of the visionaries. We've also seen other names such as Ramblin' Frank Spicer, Harriet Morse, Dr. Wengie Evans, Charlie Montague, and Fear Zaboroska, though Bethesda haven't shared more about them yet. This is all we know, and it is their names. But I'm sure as we get closer to the release, Bethesda will bring out some more information, or it might just be the case for some of these characters that we do need to wait for the release of the game. But anyway, this is what we know about Deathloop. This is the gameplay, the story, and also some of the visionaries that have been released. Deathloop is set to release on PC and PlayStation 5 as a timed exclusive on May 21st, 2021. It was set for the holidays, but it did have to be pushed back due to the delay. Along with the confirmation of the release date, Bethesda also revealed 2 editions will be available, the standalone and the deluxe edition for both PlayStation 5 and PC. It will eventually be coming to other platforms, but not until 1 year after the release date. This game is a timed exclusive, so PlayStation 5 and PC get it first. And on the 21st of May 2022, that's when it's supposed to come to other consoles, but there has been no word about that whatsoever because they're hyping it up for the first release. The game studio behind Deathloop is Arkane, and you should actually be recognizing the name when I say it. If not, you should know games such as Dishonored and Prey. And when looking at Deathloop, as we've shown quite a lot of footage in the background from the trailers, you will see some similarities in style between Deathloop and the previous games. And I do think that this can only be a good thing, with both Dishonored and Prey receiving hundreds of prestigious accolades around the globe, including several Game of the Year awards. So I look forward to this type of style with new types of mechanics and also a bit of a PvP element. As this is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, we should talk about the very fine details, because Deathloop will make use of the DualSense adaptive triggers to add more to the immersive action-packed experience. There is a PlayStation blog that goes through the dynamic weapon system and how it links to the DualSense features. With Deathloop's dynamic weapons, every weapon will feel unique in your hands, from the way it fires or swings, to the way it reloads or connects with its target. You'll feel the difference through the DualSense controller. One thing that I'm very excited for comes from this paragraph here. When a low tier weapon is jammed, your trigger button will be blocked halfway, giving you instantaneous feedback even before the animation notifies you. It's a momentary setback that could force you to retreat for a beat whilst you fix it. As you're watching your character on screen punch the gun to get it in working order, you feel a correlation strike in the controller, activating the mechanism to unjam it. And this is one of those very small things. This is not the big biggest thing within Deathloop, but it is something very interesting, and it does add a more immersive feel into the game. But they also take it a step further. As well as adding to the immersive feel when it comes to weaponry and combat, every movement will also create a different sensation, using the controller's haptic feedback capabilities, from running, sneaking, teleporting, and everything in between. There even seems to be feedback based on the environment you're fighting in. And this comes from this paragraph here. You'll even notice the stark contrast of distinct types of surfaces as you battle through various environments, from the harsh, bumpy feedback you'll feel as you're sliding down a rough rooftop, to the muted thumping input as you land in the snow. And this is one of those very small, fine details, but it is actually now something that I'm very excited for. Originally, when PlayStation 5 was first announced, this haptic feedback, I wasn't actually too bothered about it, but after playing with a few different games with haptic feedback included, but only just lightly touching on the surface, I really want to see a lot more of it. And I think Deathloop definitely takes control of this. And it will also be interesting in a year from now when it does release on other platforms, how much different will it feel, because these other consoles, these other platforms don't have the haptic feedback that PlayStation 5 controllers do. But that will have to be a question for a completely different time. This is absolutely everything you need to know about Deathloop. As we get closer to the release date, there may be some more news that gets revealed, but this more than anything is a game that I'm very looking forward to playing. And I have already got the date noted down in the calendar, and it is something that I'm very excited to be streaming over on Twitch. So if you do want to see that or any other content from me, there's links to everything in the description down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.